Well, Craig, it's 9 o'clock. We're getting people to join. Travis has just joined us, and I'm recording this. And Tom and I sort of been talking about you coming on and your experience at the Nationals. And you and Jordan have extensive experience working with Team Alberta and the Program of Excellence. I think Tom had originated in your day. And
Yeah.
the object of the program, of course, is to prepare players for national teams, whether they're U18, 17, junior 22, or senior going right up to the Olympics. That there's sort of a template of development that we try to adhere to. And Craig's been through it with Team Alberta. He had a number of players from the Alberta and GHC in particular on that team. And there's lots to be learned from that and lots of lessons. And Tom, they do relate to what you were talking about in terms of the ability or inability to think about playing without the puck. Because if you don't gain possession, you don't get the puck to display your extreme skills.
Mhm.
So, Craig, I'm going to let you kick off the topic. And what I'm trying to get out of it for JHC is what can we do better to serve the needs of Team Alberta and Team Canada in the program of excellence, players growing up and evolving to that level? What were the lessons for you and some of the stories from this experience you had? You mentioned 8 ice times or so before you got to competition, and you had to make a team selection and prepare the best of the best in the country to play against each other.
Yeah, this is my fourth time through it. Actually, McKinley actually played for me way back in 2000 and I want to say 19. So she might be able to bring some perspective now that she's coaching from the player side of it. But I think the number one thing I take away from it is every year I do it is it's such an incredible experience. The way Hockey Canada has that tournament set up and how they take care of the athletes and the coaches, my only job was to coach. I didn't have to worry about anything else. The player's only job was to play. So from that side of it, when you're running your everyday program and worry about hotel rooms and buses and food and all of that, we'd have to worry about any of it. It was all laid out. We're given our times to eat. We're given our times to bus. We're given our times to play. And then all we had to do is build our team building and our videos and our things like that around it. So the experience, I mean, again, I've done 3 of these U18s and 1 winter games. Each one of my experiences are better and better. And this one was awesome. The kids were great to work with. They were open minded a lot. From being Team Alberta, we've run into the same issue all 4 times: is we're not ready to play at that level for games 1 and 2, but we're really good by games 4, 5, and 6. And I think the biggest thing I take away from this group is those kids were not good playing without the puck. So they play on some really good hockey teams. I mean, we had 5 or 6 junior Oilers who won the national championship, and I think have lost combined 3 games in 2 years. And we had 4 OHA Edmonton kids who I think have lost maybe 1 game this year. So they're used to playing with the puck. Now you get at that level where everyone's the same. Everybody can skate the same, shoot the same, play the same. The intangibles of understanding what to do without the puck, how to get to open ice, how to track back, who to pick up the fourth defenseman jumping into the rush, are things they don't do in their everyday because they're playing on super teams and they have the puck 75 to 80% of the game. So we really had to learn that quickly, and that's where a lot of video came in. The other part I learned is a lot of kids aren't held accountable. Today, the way things are set up and the way the leagues are formed, kids can leave at a whim if they want. So if coaches push them too hard, they're gone. They just go to another team the next year. So there's no real mechanism for coaches to be accountable and hold them accountable. So when I get to something like this and they're not playing their very best, they don't get on the ice like they do in their club teams. A lot of kids take that as a bad thing and they sulk and go in the wrong direction. So it wasn't just our team, but we saw it. I saw it on other teams as well too. Knowing a lot of the players from Manitoba and Saskatchewan, some of those similar things showed up. But at the end of it all, we had some pretty good buy-in, and I'd say our last couple games were our best, and that's usually what you're looking for in short-term competition. Getting better every day and building that buy-in and watching kids play roles that they're not used to and excelling in those roles.
Craig, the one thing I talked about today, even with the U13 coaches, was the players all say, well, boy, I want to play center. No, I want to play right wing. And I know when they get to the level of trying out for you, they're not going to get to choose where they play. You've got to put the chemistry together of what combinations are going to play. And there's an awful lot of centers that are going to have to play wing at the next level. Did that happen with you
Oh
this
yeah, oh yeah. I think of our 12 forwards, 9 were natural centers, and obviously there's only 4 lines, so we had to play a little bit with it. I mean, sometimes we started games with certain kids and we moved them out and moved kids in halfway through the game just to try and find that right chemistry. Some accepted it, some bought into it, some loved it. Others didn't like having to play the wing and the wall because, as we found out as well, most other provinces have some very large defensemen who like to pinch. And if you're playing that wall in your D zone, the expectation is to take that bump and fight to get that puck out. And a lot of the kids weren't used to it and didn't like it. So it takes a little bit of convincing. But again, that comes back to the buy-in piece. And I think we set that up well as we really, from day one, we said we have to bump, we have to defend. And as the tournament got on, we got better at defending, we got better at bumping.
McKinley, when you tried out, were you a center and then had to become a winger?
Yeah, I was played center, and then when I went to nationals with Craig, I was on the wing. So
How was that mentally for you?
I feel like I knew it was coming, so I don't think it was like that much of a shock. And I feel like throughout like my minor hockey, I kind of played everywhere too.
Yeah.
But just like kind of building off what you said, it is important for the girls to know like that being like an adaptable, because when you do move on, when you go to university, when they're changing lines weekly, like it's a lot different. So
Well, today I talked to the U13 coaches about that because they've got players that want to play right wing, and play positioning is more interchangeable than ever, Craig. And I don't know if that I'm thinking too far ahead, but I feel you don't line up at a position for a face-off. The ultimate game is interchanging positions and being first, second, third, and just reacting to the play, whether it's on attack or on defense. And I don't know that we're there yet, but there is a big learning curve, time for those players that they want to move to the next level to be prepared for that. And I think we need to do that with GHC at all the levels. So, Craig, please continue to share some of the stories of the competition and putting it together and things that, personal things that you might have had to deal with specific players and how the responses went and how, you really, as a coach, you evaluate the players in terms of, are they accepting it? Are they coachable? Are they accountable? Can you trust them? Because whoever you play for at the elite level, you've got to be able to get on board with their philosophy. So go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, I think the buy-in piece is always the biggest, and that's just not even from style of play, but it's also from roles. I mean, when I look at our 6 when I was in charge of the D side of it, all 6 when our team play top minutes. They all play power play one, they all play penalty kill one, they all play against their team's top players. But when you come into that tournament, we had to find roles for some of them, and holding a few of them accountable to certain situations. It was a change for them. Like someone wondered why I wasn't on the ice the last 5 minutes of the game. Well, you turn the puck over 3 times your last 3 shifts, and you gave up a breakaway. The fact is that I don't trust you in that position for that game. So the conversation around trust and building that trust and understanding how do you get on the ice in a game? If your coach doesn't trust you on the defensive side of the game, you're not going to play. I'm sure Tom can tell you when he was coaching the NHL, he's not putting the forward out there he doesn't trust going to get a puck out in the wall in the last 2 minutes of a game when you're up by 1. And a lot of these kids don't understand that because they're just put on the ice no matter what because they're the team's best players. And they just get to play. They don't have to earn their ice. They don't have to have that conversation. And a lot of them, it was hard, especially a couple who never had it and a couple of the younger ones. And to their credit, they took it to heart. They got better. They tried. You could see them working at their game. I think it's just, playing for top teams sometimes as a defenseman or even defensive hockey, you're not really top of mind of it. You don't quite understand it because the puck's always on your stick and you're always driving the offense or you're jumping into a rush. When you're playing Team Ontario, who's got 15 of the 20 Team Canada kids that played in the rivalry series back in the summer on it, that's a whole different ballgame. You're not surfing up the neutral zone anymore. You're absorbing the defense. You're trying to put pressure on entries versus backing off. And if you give them time and space, they make plays. And a lot of times they don't see it. So that trust piece is big for all coaches. I mean, coaching in a position where you get hired and fired, if you're not going to trust your players, that player's not getting on the ice. And a lot of kids these days don't understand that.
Tom, I think it's a good time. You said buy-in, Craig. And Tom, you shared with me the story your first year coaching major junior national team. And you mentioned the covenant because we've all done the covenant. The coaches sitting here today have been through the covenant. And I regard that as a way of creating or initiating buy-in to a philosophy of doing things the right way as a team. Can you share that, Tom?
I'm happy to, Wally. I can tell the group this